Somebody tried to steal our ducks. Literally steal our ducks. Okay, so we got ourselves some ducks, and these ducks are extremely happy, and they want to go around exploring and foraging, which is something we actually encourage. So we kept the ducks in an enclosure first, but we couldn't keep them there forever because they really love going out and walking around and looking for food, so we let them out. And unfortunately, they started walking further and further away from the house, which is okay because we live in a pretty empty area and most of the time it's not a problem. Once they got lost in the forest, a couple of times they just went a little too far, but then finally they went and crossed the road. Today I was looking for them and they were nowhere to be seen. They crossed the road and started going into the forest outside of our property. I have a video of this event from our security camera. Unfortunately, it's not easy to see because the distance is quite large and the sun is shining right into the camera. But this is the truck that came, stopped, and the woman proceeded to run straight for our ducks. When the truck was coming, I was already on my way to shoo the ducks back closer to our house. They didn't see me. And that's when they went for the ducks, and I was coming from behind the barn and I saw it happening, and then I confronted them. I see a chubby young woman getting out of the truck and just running towards our ducks. And I'm looking and she grabbed 2 ducks and she's making a beeline back to the truck. So at that moment, I was coming from behind the barn, and they saw me, and I say, "What are you doing?" "Oh, I just saw these ducks, and I thought I didn't know who they belonged to." And I said, "And you wanted to take them?" "Oh," I said, "just put them down." She pretended like she had no clue what she was doing, like she was just playing dumb. "Oh, I just saw ducks walking, so I didn't know who they belonged to." This seems to be a common line of defense around here. "Oh, silly me, that belongs to you? Oh, sorry, they are yours? I had no clue." And don't tell me she was confused thinking those were wild ducks, because if you grow up in New Brunswick, you know there's no wild ducks just walking around. These yellow domestic ducks clearly belong to us because there's no other house so close to where the ducks were walking. So she put the ducks down and I shooed them back home. That's why in the Bible, God explains how to love your neighbor. It's not just saying fake hellos and, being friendly. In Deuteronomy 22:1, it says, "You shall not see your brother's ox or his sheep going astray and ignore them. You shall take them back to your brother." So if you see an animal, here we have an example of donkey or ox, but I'm sure it applies to ducks too. If you see an animal walking astray somewhere, walking away from the house, you shall bring it back to your neighbor. Or at least, you shall not steal it. In the very least, you shall leave it alone. And this rule applies to anybody who lives close by. Brother, meaning another Hebrew, another Christian, but also an enemy. In the book of Exodus, the same command specifies a donkey or an ox belonging to an enemy. If you meet your enemy's ox or donkey going astray, you shall bring it back to him. Your neighbor is often your enemy. Let's be honest about it. People have trouble loving their neighbors. But regardless if he is your enemy or your neighbor, you shall not keep what you find outside of their house. There's no such thing as finders keepers in the Bible. God specifies how to love our neighbor. I know people don't read the Bible these days, but isn't this something that God has written on our hearts anyways? Not to take something that doesn't belong to you. So it's by God's grace that I came out looking for the ducks just at the right moment. Otherwise, that fat would have stolen our ducks.